Hey, welcome back everyone. We are now getting through the month of October and getting closer to the official release of Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 2, and even closer to 2021, which is where the new Star Wars universe is really going to pick up by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are currently in a phase of desperation and damage control to really get the ball rolling again when it comes to this massive franchise. Essentially, what they really are trying to do is that they're really trying to get things up to the same exact level as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which, by the way, is going to take a lot of time and effort and a high success rate at that. You're going to have a lot of TV shows and movies being a massive success in a row, right? So when we go ahead and check out what's happening between George Lucas, Jon Favreau, and Dave Filoni all working together as a team, doing everything in their power to give the fans exactly what they want to see on the big screen, it really is going to be quite something to compare to what I like to call the Kathleen Kennedy era of Star Wars, right? So with that being said, of course, we do know that there is one show in particular, however, that a lot of fans are up in arms over, and that is the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV series. Now, be it as it may, a lot of fans are still very fed up with Lucasfilm and how they're handling the overall Star Wars franchise. Now, given that Kathleen Kennedy has lost a majority of her control, she's only working on the Leslie TV series, and that's it. That's perfect. You know, that's fine because, well, that's going to be the only show that's going to have, you know, Kathleen Kennedy's supervision per se, right? So beyond all of this, everything related to this particular TV show involves actress Brie Larson and Kathleen Kennedy, and what's really brewing behind the scenes that's actually creating problems for this actual TV series. Now, with the Skywalker Saga now over, both Disney and Lucasfilm are currently focused on their new Star Wars universe in order to provide fans a brand new mythology that will redefine the Star Wars franchise. Now, further, it's explained, however, that many changes are being made over at Lucasfilm by Disney CEO Bob Chapek in order to regulate the franchise. However, it's noted that actress Brie Larson is still attached to the Leslie Headland Star Wars TV series that is currently in the works that is still set for a release in 2022. Now, further, it's noted that Kathleen Kennedy is also still in charge of the project. However, behind the scenes, many problems have been happening between creators, producers, and even the cast. One major example is between Brie Larson and Kathleen Kennedy. It's described that Larson is very angry and disappointed with Kathleen Kennedy's handling of this project for even allowing George Lucas and Bob Chapek to regulate the show by diminishing or setting a cap for the use of activism and identity politics. So let me stop right here for a second, is that Brie Larson's stance as to why she is frustrated with Kathleen Kennedy, I think, is a very poor reason. Because, make no mistake, Kathleen Kennedy is still allowing the promotion of activism, identity politics, and personal agendas to be shoehorned into the show. It's just that after the regulations by Bob Chapek, the Disney CEO, and George Lucas, who also made regulations to the show and had the right to do so, is that now Brie Larson's having an issue with the fact that Kathleen Kennedy is allowing that. I mean, think about it this way. Kathleen Kennedy doesn't really have a choice. She actually had to go through with this decision to listen to Bob Chapek and George. There's nothing else that she really could have done. And honestly, it's for the better, because the less identity politics and the less promotion of activism and all this nonsense being thrown into Star Wars, the better, in my opinion. I feel that focusing on the story and character development is the key, the absolute key to making Star Wars successful, as well as somewhat catering to the Star Wars fans. I'm not saying that you have to listen to the fans 100%, but at least have, you know, an open mind to what the fans are actually asking to see either on the big screen or at home on a streaming service like this. So further, beyond all of that, alright, at no surprise, it's actually described that this whole entire transition of Kathleen Kennedy and Brie having creative differences, it's noted that Brie was offended over the fact that Kathleen Kennedy went through with Disney and Lucas's demands alright, with Disney and Lucas's demands to regulate the new Star Wars TV series that will be used as a tool to create new fans that will accept this different side of the Star Wars brand. On top of this, it was Kathleen Kennedy's idea to not make Brie Larson the main star of the franchise, and instead wanted to go with an ensemble cast, to have a group of female characters instead of having a dominant one in the group. I want you guys to think about Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. It's like, kind of look at that movie, except as an all-female led Star Wars TV show, and having Brie Larson in there. Brie Larson does not like the fact that she is not the main star. We're not quite sure who the main star is going to be in this new Star Wars TV series, most likely a villain, or maybe even somebody else. But for all we know, obviously, you know, this is going to pretty much be, in my opinion, Ghostbusters 2016 all over again. I don't know about you guys, but I just feel that going through with these types of agendas just for the sake of doing it is not the best way to go about trying to do an all-female-led Star Wars TV series. In my opinion, you know, if the story fits it, or if the story needs that, fine, that's perfectly okay with me. But if you're just gonna do it just to do it, I think that's where you run into problems, because that's where the story is not going to be rich in material, and it's not going to have much meaning at that. It's going to be more driven by agendas. Moving on. So, given that Brie was used to being Captain Marvel in the MCU, it's noted that Larson expected more in the Star Wars world, and is already having creative differences with Kathleen Kennedy. Yes, even Brie could have creative differences with Kathleen Kennedy, of all people. Kathleen Kennedy is described to have been in the talks with other female actresses to jump on board of the franchise, one of which is an actress that Brie Larson does not get along with. It's currently unclear as to who this actress is, however, she is said to have worked on a major project for HBO back in 2015, that she will be coming into the cast of this new Star Wars TV show. This is what is mainly causing issues between Brie and Kennedy, given that Larson expressed her problems with this actress and Kennedy refused to do anything about it, since Kennedy feels that this actress is the perfect choice for one of the other major roles that Brie's character Maeve will act alongside with. So that's the other major problem between Kennedy and Larson. Kennedy found the perfect choice, the perfect actress, the perfect role, if you will, for that actress, and she is putting her in the show. Brie is not happy about that because she has personal problems with her. We're not quite sure who this actress is, other than the fact that she has been on HBO before. Not quite sure who that is. There's a series of TV shows on that channel, so it really could be almost anybody. Now, looking at everything past this, alright, this is where it begins to get deeper, is that Kathleen Kennedy also made it clear to Brie Larson that she cannot improvise her own lines of dialogue for the second half of the show, and only the first half, since the second half of the show is where everything begins to pick up, and Larson was very frustrated with that decision, given that she was promised by Leslye Headland she would be able to come up with her own lines of dialogue from start to finish of the show. Now, Larson is described to also have problems with Kathleen Kennedy's handling of the choices of directors, coming on board, and disagrees with Kennedy's roundup of choices of directors that have potential to work on the new Star Wars TV show for Disney+. Once again, here we are in a similar scenario, another show that's having a lot of creative differences. Not a big surprise, except this time it's being initiated by Brie. Now, I've never had a lot of issues with, Brie Larson before in the past. I think it was more so when Captain Marvel came into fruition. I didn't really know who she was when I saw Kong Skull Island. I didn't think anything of her as an actress. I thought that she was just okay. She was just alright. I didn't think anything of her, like looking her up on IMDb, who was this amazing actress that worked on Kong. But when Captain Marvel started getting worked on, and when she started speaking out more in interviews, that's where the problems began to sprout. And that's where we got an avalanche of, complete nonsense coming out of Brie Larson's mind. And if you guys go ahead and look up those interviews, you will know, that Jeremy Renner had issues with her. Other cast members have had issues with Brie Larson. There's no denying that. So, yeah, guys, it's going to be very interesting to see the process of the development of the show and where everything leads, and I think that we're still on the road to success, regardless of the show, if it's going to be a massive failure or just an okay TV series. I wouldn't get too bent out of shape over it, or I wouldn't get too upset about it. So like I've said before in the past, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know anything about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.